I'm Heather with Beach Beads and Glass Studio and Illuminations, and today is my first official YouTube tutorial. Today we're going to work on a handmade paper bead macrame bracelet, and we're also going to do the matching half moon earrings with the handmade paper beads. So let's get started. Okay, so the supplies that we're going to need to make the handmade macrame paper bead bracelet, we are going to need a total of 5 strands of the 10-pound test at 55 inches. So a total of 5 strands of the 10-pound test natural hemp at 55 inches. You're going to need approximately 25 handmade paper beads. You want to have a good pair of scissors in case you need to trim your hemp when you're loading your beads, a good pair of nippers, your round nose for the clasp, and it's always good to have nylon coated pliers around when working with aluminum. You also want to have a reamer for your paper beads. We glaze our paper beads here at Beach Beads several times so they're extra durable. You can get them wet, the body oil isn't going to bother them, but sometimes that glaze gets caught up in the hole a little bit and you'll want to either take a mandrel or a reamer to clean out that hole. You will also need your chasing hammer and your bench block just to harden that clasp. So let's get started making. Okay, so we're gonna start by just tying a square knot to make sure the loop is big enough so you can get all your strands through. You're gonna pull those through, leave that knot big, and then cinch it up around your finger. You don't want that loop really big. You just want it small enough for your clasp to go in. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay it out. You are gonna start by skipping a strand. You're gonna pick up another strand and you're gonna load your first paper bead. Now we make our paper beads here with a large enough hole to go right through the 10-pound test. So that's your first bead. Don't worry about the order. Just skip a strand and go to the next one. And you're just gonna load your paper beads. Let me go ahead and trim this. Actually, I'll just get it in there. Then you're going to skip a strand until you have your 5 beads on. So basically you put one on, you skip a strand, you put one on, and you skip a strand. Don't, like I said, don't worry about the order. It all comes out in the wash when we bundle them up together. And so you'll have a total of 5 beads on your first cluster. Skip a strand, and then your last little bead. Okay, so once you get your cluster, you're going to pull them all up together just like this. So they're all clustered, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to tie a square knot. Okay, you are going to repeat that very same step approximately 4 or 5 times depending on what your wrist measurement. If your wrist is going to be on the smaller side, we are going to do 4 clusters. If your wrist is on the larger side, we're going to do 5. This is an example of 5, which fits a larger wrist, and then this is an example of 4. Now you can get all creative and add other beads on the other strands, but just for this simple design with the paper beads, we just add a total of 5 beads for cluster. So I'm going to finish this up and then we're going to come back and do the clasp. Okay, so we have our 4 clusters done, and now we're going to do the clasp. I leave my last knot open. First thing you're going to do is flush cut. Make sure both sides of your aluminum is flush cut. You're going to target your area, and what I mean by that is holding really close, and we want to make just a small little loop. And the way that I cheat to make my little shepherd's hook is I take this and put it right on my hammer and just go right around the base of my hammer, and that gives you your good hook. Then we're going to come back here, go all the way to the back of the tool, and make our loop. If this clasp is too big for you, all you need to do is just trim a little bit, and you are just going to reposition where we're going to make that loop. Okay, so just to work harden it, we're going to use a chasing hammer, and we're just going to hammer it and then ball ping it just for a little extra bling. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back in and open up that loop. And we're gonna start to make our last knot, but leave that loop really big. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go in and just attach your clasp to all the strands and go ahead and close it. Okay, so now don't worry about your clasp. You just wanna, if you tighten down and you're too loose, you just put some more thread back in there and just tighten it back down to where your cluster is. Just like that, and then make sure your clasp sits right, and we're just gonna tie that off. Slip that over, and then all I do is I take 2 strands at a time and I'm just gonna knot them. Now you can get all kinds of creative with this. You can put beads, have little beads hanging down. If you wanted to use little seed beads, you could do a charm hanging down from these knots. But I'm basically just ending this with a knot so it can't come, that last knot can't come undone. So I just take 2 at a time, and I'm just tying little knots up close to the last knot. And we are just gonna do just like this. And the last 2. And then you're just gonna trim those off and you will be finished. So I suggest trimming 1 at a time. You don't have to use glue. If you tighten your knot enough, you don't have to use any glue. And the great thing about aluminum is it is nice and hypoallergenic, so the bracelet is still natural. And then you're just gonna hook it on. It's nice and lightweight, super fun, and I hope you liked it. Okay, so the supplies that we're gonna need to make the paper bead half moon earrings, like the ones I have on, you are gonna need approximately 4 paper beads. You're gonna need 2 silver noodles. And I always like to use surgical steel ear wires. Those are gonna be best for people that have any metal allergy. They are nickel free and can be worn comfortably. Then you're gonna need approximately 6 inches of 20 gauge wire, and I always keep a tube of size 6 seed beads. Those are great for the spacer that you're gonna use. If you look at the earring, depending on how much space or how large your bead is, you're gonna need a little filler up here to make the wire bow out like that. So you can use a size 6 seed bead, you could use a crystal, or any other beads you have laying around. It doesn't really matter the bead, it's just gonna come down to the size. So let's get busy making those. Okay, so now we're gonna get started with the earrings. What we're gonna do is just kind of bend your 20 gauge wire, and we're gonna slide a noodle on there. Now remember, this noodle is slightly curved, so you may have to kind of work your wire through it. And you wanna bring it halfway down, approximately, doesn't have to be exact. And we wanna kind of bow that other wire that has nothing on it out. And then we're gonna load a paper bead on there, and then I usually like to put like a little spacer in between, a little size 6 seed bead, and I'm gonna put the second one on. Okay, so then we're gonna bend it over like this towards the other one with the noodle, and we're gonna size it. We need probably about 2 seed beads. So I am gonna take this one and get it on there, and then a green one. Okay, so now that we're crossed and we're ready to go, what I'm gonna do is I am going to go ahead and wrap this around the one with the paper bead. And I'm gonna stand my other wire straight up. And I'm gonna make sure that I like the position, make sure it's bowed out. If there's any space, I just pull it up. And there you go. I'm gonna wrap this around one more time. And notice, yes, I do that with my hands because 20 gauge is easy enough to do that. Then you're gonna come in here. Now my tip to getting a nice clean cut is always to turn your project upside down so you can get right in there and clip that little guy. And then if it needs to be tucked, you just take your bent nose pliers and just put a little bit of pressure on there. So with this earring, we are gonna make the loop facing us. So you're just gonna put your round nose right where you want it. It doesn't matter which way you come. Either way, you're gonna get a loop. I'm gonna come this way and bring it all the way across, horizontal underneath there. Then what you're gonna do is go ahead and add your earring on. Just pop it in that loop, and then you're gonna hold the loop that you make. Switch hands so you have your dominant hand, and you always wanna grab your wire towards the end and you wanna pull and wrap. That tension is very important to get a nice clean wrap. And you're gonna wrap down until you meet that other wrap. Straighten everything up, straighten your loop up if you need it. Make sure everything's sitting right, and then we are gonna do the same thing with that. We're gonna turn that upside down, and we're gonna get right in there and clip that wire. I always kind of just hold my thumb over it so it doesn't bounce anywhere. And then if you can't see the tail, you can feel it. I can see it, and I just put a little bit of pressure in there. Okay, so now we're gonna make the matching one. Same thing, we're gonna take our wire and make a U shape. We're going to put our noodle on first. Get it on there. Get it about halfway. Okay, and then we're gonna bend that wire towards the one that has the noodle on it. We are gonna put our beads on. Now, if you decide, you can start with a seed bead. I like to put a seed bead in the middle, but really you can vary these earrings. You just have to match the length on the other side. Okay, and I put a blue one on the other one, and then a green one. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna kind of bow that out. Just kind of make your wire work with you. And we're gonna wrap this one around. Now, the reason I get a good wrap with my hand is because of the tension I have on the wire. It's all about tension. I kind of put my finger in there and pull. It's just easier than using two tools for me. I do a lot of stuff with hands. It comes more naturally. Okay, so again, we're gonna turn this upside down and nip close, and then tuck that tail. Again, we're gonna take our round nose, we're gonna sit them right here, same place, bring it around until you're totally horizontal underneath the other part of the tool. Okay, so here's the important part. We want the earrings to sit correctly, so you can wear them either way. So you're gonna have to test and see. Okay, so that is gonna sit perfectly. The earring is going back. You can wear the earrings, the paper beads towards your cheek, or you can change your earrings and wear them away. But you wanna make sure that you have a mirror image. I always kind of draw a little face. So if you were wearing these would be facing your cheekbones, or vice versa, that. So I'm just gonna finish this little wrap up by holding the loop I made. Switching to my dominant hand, always grabbing the wire at the back. If you need, you can always move your project out of your way to finish wrapping. Make sure everything's sitting correctly. You're gonna turn it upside down to trim it. Get that little trim, and then if you can't see your tail, you can feel it, but I can see it, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure. And when I tuck my tail, I put pressure and kind of turn at the same time. It tucks it right in there. So these earrings are super lightweight, fun to wear, and they're one of a kind because we hand make our paper beads here at Beach Beads. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and again, these kits are available on my website, So check it out. Thanks so much for watching my very first YouTube tutorial. There will be lots more to come, so please like and subscribe. The kits are going to be available on my website right here, and under the weekly kits, the bracelet kit, the complete macrame paper bead bracelet kit is $24.99, and the earring kit, the complete kit, everything you need to make it is going to be $12.99. So definitely make sure to shop my website, and I will see you soon.